cars over the last couple of years, but getting back to GM stuff is always fun. So, in fact, I actually got to test with the Cadillac team this year a couple of times, which was really unexpected. I got a call from those guys. I hadn't raced with the Cadillac team since the end of 15, and I got a call from Steve Cole, and he said, "Hey, we need some help. Come and test something." And so I was over at Mid-Ohio and at Utah with the Cadillac team this year. So it's always great to be back with the Pratt Miller guys and have some fun. So I'm going to move into this deal. This just gives you a little bit of an understanding of what I've been doing. I've basically been running some other cars, some other manufacturers' cars for the last couple of years. This year I'm doing a Creventic Championship, which is really a World Series, and I've been doing 24-hour races, which I actually don't like very much. I'm not a huge fan of 24-hour races. I first did my first one in 1984. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Stayed up the whole time. It was awesome. Second one, it was not quite the same. Third one, I thought I needed therapy. And that was still in 1984. And I've done about 100 of them since. And now I absolutely am beyond therapy. So this year, just for grins, I thought, well, I'll do 24-hour races and nothing but 24-hour races and just have a good old time. So, yeah, it keeps you fit, I can tell you that. All right, let's see what happens here. So, there's a thing called the Pilgrim Pass. Some of you know about it, some of you won't. Some of you are probably new to Corvette in the last few years and have no idea that I was involved with Corvette from the very beginning. I first, Doug Behan approached me back in 1998 and said, you know, we're looking potentially for some people to help us on a new program we're doing with Corvette. Would you be interested? And I was running Porsches at that time. And I tested the car, I think in November at Road Atlanta in 1998, and Ron Fellows was there, Chris Knifer was there, John Heinersey was there, and I was wobbling around doing my stuff. And the first year, 99, I did 3 of the longer races with the team, and as many of us did, and John Heinersey and Chris Knifer and Ron were doing some runs in the shorter races. And that was my start with Corvette racing at the very, very beginning, really. And I ended up with Corvette racing until the end of 2003, doing Le Mans with them, doing the whole series. And then I moved over to Cadillac. I was lucky enough to be on the Cadillac program then for another 11 years. But even before Corvette, I was doing Pontiac stuff with GM. And my first connections with people that actually worked at GM and management at GM started all the way back in 1986 with Pontiac. So I've been with GM, been lucky enough to be part of GM racing programs for a long, long, long time, and the relationship will never go away. And Corvette fans, Cadillac great, Pontiac's great. Okay, Pontiac's kind of like a dinosaur, it's gone now. But the bottom line is the Corvette fans are like nothing else in the world. There's no one. I mean, Porsche fans are great, BMW fans are good. I've done a lot of events and things and PR things with all those companies, but Corvette fans are just different. You guys are absolutely Corvette Nation, and again, I'm not going to go on and on about that, but look at this room. It's full of people, enthusiastic beyond belief about this car. All of you, I'm sure, excited for the new one coming out, and you know, me too. I'm not going to say any more than that. So the Pilgrim Pass is something that happened because it got me to talk to a guy called Dale Earnhardt. And the Pilgrim Pass was something that he saw after it happened. And it happened at the end of Petit Le Mans in 2000. And some of you have no idea what it is. Hopefully a few of you can see it here. But I'm going to go for the end of the race, 2 laps to go. And it was me against the Dodge Viper factory team. And I was in the Corvette. And Tommy Archer was in the Dodge Viper. And we'll just play it real quick.
So Andy Pilgrim, it is on his shoulders to see, can he pressurize Carl Wendlinger. So much more experience has Carl Wendlinger from his Formula 1 and a sports car background. Boy, it is hard to believe at the end of 1,000 miles of racing that we have so many battles going on so late in this race. It is Tommy Archer in the Viper. Tommy Archer versus Andy Pilgrim. Oh, this is good. Good stuff here. And guess who's coming? The GT battle is still being led by Masson and Wallach. Yeah, but here's the leaders. And they're going to catch them in the next 2 laps or so. If not this lap, they're going to catch the leaders. The leaders right there. 3 laps to go. Oh, look at that. Look at the Viper. Blocks them. Oh, the brake zone. The brake zone for turn 1. Oh, Pilgrim down the inside. There go the leaders.
I don't think they even touched. I don't think they got together.
Nobody could see him coming down, and he braked later than he dared and couldn't make the corner. Man, hang on to your hollyhocks here, boys.
That was I just hold on to your hollyhocks there, boys. That's classic stuff. Anyway, that cost the Viper team. They were going for the World Championship, and they won all of the majors that year. And Doug's smiling, smirking right now, because he remembers this too. They had a bonus that was coming to them, $750,000 if they won that race. That was the last of the 4 major races of the year. They'd won Le Mans, they'd won Daytona, they'd won Sebring, they had to win Petit. That pass cost them $750,000 that I made on the Vipers. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, I got $7.50. Anyway, so consequently, that pass has become known as the Pilgrim Pass in Corvette history, and some of you here may not have known anything about that, so I wanted to just do that. 2 days after that race, I was at home. I was answering emails. Believe it or not, we had emails back in 2000. I kind of forgot myself, but there were emails. And I was answering emails, got a knock at my front door, and it was a FedEx package. That package, I opened it up, and I looked at it, and it says Dale Earnhardt Incorporated on it. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going like, they must be a catalog or something. You know, I didn't know what it was. So I looked it, opened it, and there was a letter inside. It was this letter. Now, I'm going to read it, because none of you can probably read that, apart from the people right up front. But this letter basically said, Andy, I just wanted to drop you a line and congratulate you on your victory at the Petit Le Mans Road Atlanta. That sort of driving and determination is exactly why I want you for my teammate in the 24 Hours of Daytona in 2001. That last lap looked like something we do at Bristol. If I can adapt to these high-force Corvettes like you've adapted to rubbing fenders, we should be able to skin some snakes, Vipers, come February. Best wishes, and look forward to seeing you here on October the 17th, Dale Earnhardt. Now, I'd never met Dale. I obviously knew who Dale was, but I was so excited. So I immediately called Gary Claudio, who's my manager, and I said, Gary, I just got this letter from Dale Earnhardt. It's like, oh, that's why his people were calling in to get your address, because they called GM, got my address, and FedEx this thing over, and after Petit Le Mans. And he's like, and I said, what's this thing about October 17th? He said, yeah, you can't tell anybody about this. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's October the 2nd, right? You know, I mean, I can't talk. He said, no, 2 weeks. You and I are going to go to Mooresville, and we're going to have some fun there. But he said, that's where we're announcing this. You're going to drive a Dale and Dale Jr. in the 24 Hours of Daytona. I was like, but you can't tell I'm living so right now. Well, obviously, that was just great. So I got off the phone, I was just almost shaking. I mean, it was like, this is unbelievable. This is going to be awesome. So that was my introduction to Dale Earnhardt. That was my introduction to knowing that I was going to be in this car that you see right here today. The same car, it has the same seat and everything, because I checked it, because we messed with that seat for Mr. Collins. It's the same seat. Doug's laughing. Kelly and Johnny O'Connell messed with seats. You could ask Doug about stories with Johnny and Kelly, and the seat was never right. It was like their whole bodies must change from race to race, because it was never right. But anyway, so that car is the car that Dale and I drove in 2001 at Daytona. So I'll tell you a couple of stories, because I've got so many Earnhardt stories. I was very, very lucky in a sense, first of all, to be in the position I was in. But for some reason, Dale talked to me, and we became very good friends for the 5 months. I would get phone calls, inadvertent phone calls from Dale. I remember Thanksgiving that year, he's calling me up, and he's saying, hey, Andy. And I was like, yeah, hi. I didn't know who it was. And he says, it's Dale. I said, oh, say, I'm building a new boat now. I'm going to do an accent because I respect Dale, and because I'm a mimic. I'm a horrible mimic. I can't help it. But if I'm telling an Earnhardt story, I'm going to tell it how it came to my ears. So there's no disrespect in that. I hope you understand. But you have to tell the story the right way. And Dale goes, hey, Eddie, I'm building a new boat. I said, oh, nice. He said, yeah, it's a big boat. He said, but it's big enough, I need mopeds. He said, you know about motorcycles. He said, what moped should I get for the boat? And I'm like, it's Thanksgiving. No happy Thanksgiving, nothing. It's like Thanksgiving, we're all eating stuff at my house. It's like, hang on a minute, let me think about it. Okay, well, we started talking about mopeds. And everybody at my house looking at me like, what are you doing? Talking about mopeds. We're having dinner. It's like, Dale Earnhardt, nothing about mopeds. Like, oh, well, of course, it's Dale Earnhardt mopeds, fine. So we had the phone call, many phone calls. So I did the phone call to Gary C, and then we had the meeting at DEI, which is Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. So it was October the 17th. I get there, meet Gary at DEI, and there's this room, there's this many, as in here, almost this many photographers, press people, and all the back of the room has a ton of probably 12 different video cameras from TV stations. It was going to be the announcement for the SS Camaro, the Dale Earnhardt SS Camaro, and on the other side was that car that was going to be revealed, right? So we're there, and Gary and I are kind of standing at the back of the room, and there's chairs all lined up, chairs in the front for all these journalists, and they're all standing around. Then Gary and I just sitting there, and I'm saying, this is a big deal, huh? He says, yeah, it's a big deal. These aren't relatives, these are journalists, right? He says, yeah, these are journalists, they're not relatives, Andy, no. And so suddenly there's a mass, everybody starts massing towards the front where the cars are, and we're at the back. And apparently Dale had a back way into this deal, and he comes in through the cars, and then the journalists are all over. Now, he just won Talladega the day before. This is the Monday after Talladega. He won it, right? So I hear this voice that says, Andy, where's Andy? Like this. And Gary elbows me in the ribs. He says, it's you idiot. Oh, so I start walking up. Dale, like the C parts of all these people, because Dale wants to go that way, so they all part and let him through. And he's got his hand out, big smile on his face, and he just shakes my hand, and he says, man, it's good to meet you. He said, God, that was such a great pass you made on that Viper. Unbelievable, man. And I said, well, you did pretty good at Talladega too, Dale. He said, I don't want to talk about that. And he grabs me around the shoulders. I just met the guy, puts his arm around me, and goes, do you guys know who this is? I'm in Mooresville, North Carolina. Nobody knows who the hell I am. And I'm like, one guy, thank God, one guy says, that not Andy Pilgrim? He goes, yeah, this is Andy Pilgrim. Did you guys see the pass this guy made on that Viper 2 weeks ago at that Petit Le Mans? And I'm like, I got Dale Earnhardt as a PR guy. I mean, it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. It was just, that was the start of the relationship. It was an unbelievable moment, and I was just like, this is unbelievable. So later on that same day, because he'd won Talladega, he had to go to the ESPN studio, which is in Charlotte. So of course he has a helicopter sitting outside. So he says, you want to go with me? I was like, want to go with him? And Gary's like, go with him. Yes, I want to go with you, Dale. That would be great. So we get in the helicopter, and you take off like you do. We've got your pheromone helicopter, and you're flying along. We're flying along to the studio at ESPN. I've got headphones on. I'm there in the helicopter. Dale's up front with the pilot. And I'm hearing the whole conversation between, he says, the guy goes, do you want to fly again? He says, no, I don't want to fly again. Because he said, God damn it, no, I don't want to fly again. Last time you had me do that, I hit that damn bird. Scared the hell out of me. I don't want to fly this damn thing anymore. So he was up front, and I was laughing and just sitting there listening. And he says, you all right? He says, yeah, I'm good. Good. He says, hey, Andy, you see that church out there, the right side of the plane? In North Carolina, they've got some big churches, right? And I said, that's this huge church. Huge church with this parking lot around it for God knows how many cars. So, and I'm looking at it, I said, wow, yeah, I said, that's a big church. And I was like, And Dale goes, Andy, I built that church. I said, really? Wow, unbelievable. And there was just silence right there. I didn't know what else to say. What do you say? And I was like, and he goes, no, I'm just kidding, man, I didn't build that church. I felt like a complete idiot. Oh, right, okay, then, yeah, well, good. I see where this is going. This relationship's going to be good. I mean, so when we get to ESPN, and the director comes out, producer comes out, and says, hey, Dale, how you doing? Great, unbelievable. Talladega says, this is Andy Pilgrim right here. He won that Petit Le Mans 2 weeks ago, and he's coming on the show with us. And they go, well, Dale, we're not really set up for that. And just like that. Andy Pilgrim's coming on the show with us because I want to talk about the Corvette thing. I'll talk about Talladega, but we're coming on there about the Corvette thing. And he goes, well, okay, Dale, no problem. We'll make it happen. And it was like, it was it. so I was on the ESPN thing, you know, with Dale, and he's talking about the Corvette thing, and they asked me a few questions as well, and it was just a great. That was my first sort of day, you know, with Dale and stuff. Then we had the Thanksgiving test, and I'm just going to check on time here. Okay. We had the Thanksgiving test, which we've always done. GM Racing's done Thanksgiving test years. Don't do it so much now, right, Doug?
Right.
Still do it now or not?
Every other year.
Yeah, every year. It was every year we did it. Cadillac did it, Corvette did it. It was actually kind of fun. It was sort of, you look forward to it because you knew you were going to be back the following year. You were at the Thanksgiving test, and it was great fun. So Dale was there. That picture, which you guys can't see up there, but I'll be happy to share them with you at some point. But there's me and Dale looking at Junior, and the look on Dale's face was classic. And the look on my face is classic. I think he's saying like, he's my son, he's my kid, everybody's watching, I hope he doesn't screw up. And I think my face is saying he's in my race car, please don't crash my race car. But basically, it was just a great picture. I like that picture because I never wear headsets, so it's probably the only picture in the world with me wearing a headset because I'm never listening to anything. So, you know, I just don't feel I need to really because I'm not in the car, right? What the heck? What's the point? But that was fun. So we had the Thanksgiving test, and I won't go into the Rolex, but the one thing at the Thanksgiving test was, they said, Andy, Dale doesn't know Sebring, so I had a Corvette. I was lucky enough to have a Corvette C5 that they'd given me as my street car. And he said, why don't you take Dale around the track? I said, okay, just show him the track, you know. So I had Dale in the car. I went slowly around Sebring, showing him the lines, because it's a very difficult track to know. Topography, there's no ups and downs. You've sort of got to know where you are. It's very flat. And so I took him around and came down the pit lane, and he goes, okay, my turn. Oh, he's going to take me around the racetrack. This is going to be fun. Well, we're doing 100 miles an hour before we then get out the end of pit lane. There's turn one, he goes through turn one, and he's flying around the racetrack. I mean, there's kind of an apex or two along the way, but he's just having a good old time learning as he's going, and I'm just hanging on for grim death, basically. So we're coming down to 17, and we're flying down at 17. It's a back straightaway, it's the fastest part of the racetrack, and you've got a long turn 17. You've got to brake for 17, get it into the corner. And it's just us out there, you know, because it's a street car. So he comes into the corner, he's in fourth gear, and you've got to go down to third, and you're already starting to, well, he went from fourth to first. Oh yeah. Instant lockup. The car's going round, and I'm seeing concrete and bridge and grass and concrete and bridge and grass and concrete and bridge and grass because there's a bridge right there. So we stop in the middle. Thank goodness there's enough runoff there because there's an old airport, right? So we stop in the middle of the racetrack, and I'm basically he's just laughing, and he's just laughing, and I'm just like, and he looks at me and he says, are you a nervous Nelly yet, boy? That ain't what your right foot's telling me. I think my right foot was like pushed through the firewall. I mean, I'm just sitting there completely rigor mortis stuck. And I mean, it was like, great. Well, I had to try and drive that car home. I barely got it home. I think the drive line was looking like an S. I mean, it was like, ka-choo, 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 all the way home. I went over like 45 miles an hour, 120 miles all the way home, and put it to the dealership. That was the last I ever saw of that car. I don't know what happened to it, but it was, that was it. But it did get me home. I thought that was pretty good, considering the drive axle was completely sideways. Amazing. 24 hours at Daytona pre-race. We did a lot of autograph stuff, obviously. The fans that year, I'd never seen as many fans at the 24-hour Rolex for years, and then when Dale was there with Junior, of course, it was just such a great draw of NASCAR. NASCAR fans came, and also sports car fans, Corvette fans, huge number of Corvette fans that were just so excited for Dale to be driving the car. That's one of my, I just like any of these pictures with him. That picture, and I'll tell this story real quick. That picture is Dale and me. I don't know if you can all see it, sorry about that if you can't. But it's basically the very end of the 24 Rolex. I did like the last 2.5 hour stint at the end of the race, and I got out of the car, and we finished second. I mean, it was a pretty good race. The other car won it, and we finished second. It was a fantastic run. I think we were fourth overall and second in class. And as I got out of the car and I'm wandering back, I'd already put my jacket on, of course, because I'm always cold. I'm always putting a jacket on. And I'm wandering along, I got out of the car, and Dale's coming down pit lane. He's got his leather jacket on over his racing suit, like that you see there. and he's walking towards me, and he's about 10 feet away from me, maybe where Richard Prince is here, and he just kind of looks at me, and he says, "You tired, boy?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm okay. I'm good now." And then he basically comes up to me, and he puts his arm around me, and he talks into my ear like that, and he goes, "Second sucks, don't it, son?" That's what he said. And that picture did not come to me till 4 months after Dale had passed away. Andrew Hartwell, as I know Richard knows Andrew Hartwell, I'm sure, it was Andrew Hartwell emailed me and said, "Hey Andy, I think I've got a picture you'll like." And that picture was it. And I was so appreciative of Andrew sending to me. Of course, when I saw the picture, I knew exactly what he was saying at that moment. And that's him saying, "Hey, second sucks, don't it, son?" And I was like, "Yeah, it does." That's a little podium picture of the four of us, which is great. Kelly Collins and Dale Jr., of course, and Dale and myself. And the letter too, and then I'll be done, Richard, so we're good. All right, man. All right, man. Earnhardt letter 2. After the race, I got another letter from Dale. Came to the house. And Kelly also got a letter. He sent a letter to Kelly as well. And I don't know, Kelly's letter was similar to mine, but he personalized mine in a different way. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is, you know. And I'll read this letter out. And it came February the 5th, 2001. Andy, we were talking on our way home last night, and we both wanted to tell you how much we appreciate everything you and Kelly did for us. We want to thank you for the neatest experience and most fun either of us have ever had in our combined racing careers. We realize what a sacrifice it was for you and your team to undertake the whole program. Such a sacrifice. Sacrifice for you and your team to undertake the whole program. But your support and guidance through the whole experience has been overwhelming. We can never repay you for everything you've done for us. Hopefully we will be able to come up with a way to settle the debt somehow. A debt, really. I would like nothing more than for us to be teammates again someday and claim a victory overall for ourselves. Sadly, you know, that wasn't to be. Andy, I was a huge fan of yours as a driver after the Petit Le Mans. After getting to know you through the conversations and testing and finally the race, I'm a huge fan of yours as a person. I'm proud to say that I consider you one of my best friends, and I'm confident will remain so for many years to come. That part's hard to read. It was really important to me to be involved in this and be part of such a historical event. More importantly, becoming friends with you will always make the event mean much more. In my book, you're world class, Dale Earnhardt. I kept that letter for 15 years because I really couldn't read it out. I kept that letter for 15 years. I showed it for the first time about a year ago at the Corvette Museum to Corvette people who I knew would appreciate it. And sharing it with you, it's always an amazing experience because not many of you will have probably heard it. And I've kept those letters. I'm happy to say I kept them. And then, as we all know, in the Daytona 500, February the 18th, 2001, was when, unfortunately, Dale passed away just 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks to the day after the 24-hour. I was on his boat the night before the race. He'd invited me up to the race, and I stayed on the boat with my girlfriend of the time. And we had it was a great whole few days and going to see the race, and I have a lot of Earnhardt stories. I'm going to share. I've shared enough for today, but I'll look forward to sharing more with you guys as you see me maybe at the museum and other places. But obviously the ending was tragic, but I will treasure forever the 5 months where we became friends and ended up doing quite a lot of stuff together and having some really interesting conversations. So I'm going to let Richard set up now, but thanks guys, thanks for your time.